Hey, it's John Flynn Copley advertising live. My first live YouTube. Love my room? this is where I work and sleep. All in the same place. Want to talk about recruitment and tracking. Yes, tracking. Recruitment does a horrible job in tracking its traffic. We send, obviously we're a recruitment marketing company, and we use mobile geofencing with demographic behavior targeting. So we work with companies and recruiters, and they give us a title they're looking for. Let's say nurses. So what we'll do is that we'll go through Facebook audience, U.S. Census, and different other databases, and we'll find in the particular geo areas they want to target the best breakout that is available for nurses. So we also put in the other factor of what kind of nurses are they looking for. And if they're looking for to fill RN positions or general nurses, what we found is that younger nurses are more desirable than older nurses. And why is that? Well, when nurses reach to the age of like 35 and above, they're pretty established at a hospital, and they're making a satisfying amount of salary. So they're necessarily not going to change positions unless somebody gives them a large amount of salary, which is not really beneficial to the client in the sense that it's expensive, but it's also not beneficial because if you're going to hire somebody just for the money, which is capitalism, is all fair. I mean, that's fine, but that necessarily is not in the best interest of the hospital because they're not going to be nearly as invested if you find somebody who wants to be part of the corporate culture, which obviously is the optimum. I call it the Noah Kagan Square. So we'll talk about that later. But anyway, so we found in order to have plentiful candidates and also reach a desired demographic that's going to fit the corporate culture of a hospital, younger nurses right out of nursing school, 20 to 27, are probably the best bet. So again, that demographic looking for the money, but they also have other factors that they are looking for, which is a quick advancement or advancement track, a community where they could have input early on into the decision-making process, and a little bit of an incubation system where their skill set is going to be sharpened. That way, when they go to another facility, then they'll have the experience that they need. So, but you have opportunity in the meantime to kind of impress with them not to do it. So you have to kind of revamp the corporate culture a little bit, especially right now where nurses are in extremely high demand. So you have a choice. You could stick with the old model, which isn't going to work, or go with the new model, which has a lot more ability to be successful. So that's tough. I mean, especially for, medical institutions. I say nurses, but, working with medical institutions as opposed to me working with corporate or recruiters who were working for corporate is a lot easier for me to deal with, because the other problem with large medical institutions is that they're usually tied to academia, and the whole process of anything getting done is at a snail's pace. So, trying to impose on them to change their corporate culture, is a long process. But anyway, that's just an example of the process we use. And then we'll also put on, in the geo-target area, we'll put on different demographics and behaviors. Like we could do gender, we could do age, we could do household income, we could do value of the house, we could do pet owners. I don't know if nurses are necessarily broken out by pet owners, but we can do dog and cats. So, we work with Newstar, which is a great third-party data company who's really got very pinpoint data. So, it's not necessarily like the old days where we had all these third-party data companies, but in the sense of that data wasn't exact. So we wound up getting impression IDs from a wide variety of people, which we wanted to be exactly a small amount of people. So, but Newstar has a great ability to do that. So that, overlays along with the geo-targeting area is great. So if we have like an area like, Portland, Oregon, that we're trying to find nurses for a large medical facility that considers that DMA a good recruiting ground, we'll use Portland and do a 10-mile radius around Portland, and then do what we call ad sets. So we'll do ad sets of by gender and income, income and education. So we'll make 5 to 10 ad sets, and then when we run the program, we'll track the ad sets, and our KPI is usually 0.6. The industry standard is 0.45, but we try to hit a 0.6. And then if we see the ad sets getting like a 0.2 or something, we will turn that ad set off. And then that way we will reallocate the impressions to ad sets that are working well. So hopefully by week 2 or week 3 of the program, we will have 1 or 2 ad sets for each DMA that's performing above the KPI, and then obviously also sending impressions to their retargeting. We have a retargeting folder, so every time somebody engages with the ad and goes to the landing page, then their ID is placed in a retargeting folder. So we'll after we get a critical mass of IDs, we'll run a retargeting campaign, and that click-through rate is usually 2 to 16 times the regular rate of the campaign. So obviously that's doing really well. So that is necessarily like the first step. And then when we get to 2 ad sets left, what we do is that we come up with an optimization campaign where if there's enough impressions, we look at things like app placement. So there's about 2,000 apps per campaign that are being utilized. And then we will look at the apps that are getting the most traffic and seeing that their rate, their click-through rate is not either disastrous or is way over KPI. If it's disastrous, like a 0.2, we'll shut that app off. If it's like a 2%, we will bid higher for traffic to that app, because obviously we want to increase the win rate because that app is doing so well. We also look at OS, which is operating system. So we'll look at Android and iPhones. If there's a disparity of 80-20, so let's say Android phones are getting a 80% higher click-through rate than iPhones, we'll clone the campaign and do an Android only, and then see how that runs against the main campaign. And if we see a major difference, we'll shut off the main campaign and keep the Android only. So those are some of the tricks of the trade we use in a sense of just to get the campaign going. Now, the topic. We go to the landing page, right? The client gives us a landing page. And best case scenario, they have Google Analytics, which is, not great. So they have Google Analytics, and then what we do is that we want a better tracking method of the landing page. So we want to make sure we have an internal tracking method in the sense of what I just described in ad sets and geo. We give the client a weekly report, but we also, we'd love to put a Facebook pixel on the landing page, and that way we can, track information from the Facebook pixel, and then we can actually create a audience, a retargeting audience from the Facebook pixel. And then the ultimate is to collect enough IDs from the landing page to start to collect a lookalike model. So if we put the 800 or 1,000 into the lookalike, if we put the 800 retargeting IDs into the lookalike model, and then we can come up with like 2 million IDs that fit according to Facebook profiles, similar attributes, which is crazy. We don't even know how they can do it. I don't think we want to. But we have 2 million across the country, so then you could retarget that back down to each geo target. So if you do Portland, Seattle, you could just use Facebook and target just those particular areas, and then you can even drill down further to health workers and things like that. But in itself, it's a great resource to have, and you can make it an audience and have it. If you're doing something like a trade show, just as a side issue, if you're doing something like a large trade show and you get 20,000, we could do impression ID. So if we send out the ad and then you see the ad, we can capture your ID on the phone, and then we take those IDs and put them into a Facebook Converter at a 30% conversion rate. Then we could take that out and put that into a lookalike model, and also get 2 million IDs, which is, you can get more. We try to do 2 million because that's a small enough model for Facebook to get a better quality audience. So, we can do that on the side. But, the recruiting people, companies, and even recruiting companies are having, necessarily, we give them all these tools, which they kind of scratch their head about now, because recruiting marketing is still, very, very antiquated. But we also try to, teach them on their landing pages to figure out, who's coming and where they're coming from and what kind of candidate they are. And also, you don't want to invest all this money in technology and just say, okay, the candidate came to the site. Now, even that's a new concept, because what happens with a lot of my clients is that they want the candidate to go directly to the form, which is a 10-page form, which on a mobile phone, nobody's going to fill out. Not one person is going to sit in a coffee shop and go to a form that's 10 pages and fill it out. Not one. Not one person is going to do that ever. Sorry, I make that very clear when I talk to people that, that's not happening. So what they have to do is that, get a layer page in there, and then collect their email and say, do you wish to get information from blah, blah, blah about additional openings, or, how to find a job in the industries. That's more of a better way to do it. Have them download a white paper. It's like how to find a job at hospitals, how to find a job in engineering, and be a resource for them. And then you have their email, and then you can email the form. But the important thing now is that you have them in a funnel. So what we want to do is have a long-term funnel. So it's a short-term goal of getting people to sign up for the form and sign up for the job, applying for the job. But the long-term funnel is that you keep sending these people quality content of like how you're doing in your job search. We're going to have a conference on our campus or at our corporation about how to find a job. We'll talk to people who've been recently looking for a job in your area, and we'll give you tips on how to do it. Get them in the company, get them on your campus, and show them, and then give them a tour. Here's the balloon room, here's the ice cream room, here's the foosball room. Have all these things. Have buckets of candy everywhere they go. You gotta have your corporate culture geared to this. It's at a market now where the candidates are dictating where they're going to go. So you have to really reach out. And you have all this process, and this is cheap. How cheap is it for someone to come to your campus and get some candy? It's not that cheap, and not that expensive. So, instead of going to one of those horrible job fairs, horrible job fairs, or spend money on Indeed.com or Career Blunder, okay? Those are just awful for you, okay? So, you do it this way, and then you keep having a relationship, and then you even try to attract people that have a job now, because if they lose their job, they'll know you. So people don't like to work with people here. They like to work with people here. So if they know you, right, then they're going to have an easier jump to get to you, all right? So it's like when you have a job available and they know you, they're like, oh, I know that company. I was in their building. They're very nice. They're free candy. And I want to go there. So there, it was easier to get. And then you get in the industry as a thought leader, not the grubby company that just wants people, but as a people wants to help people, right, find a job. It's okay if they don't go to your place, because if they don't go to your place after you've helped them, they're going to go another place and tell people how wonderful you are. And also, if they happen to not have that job or like it, they know where to get another job, right? So that's the reputation you're going to have in the marketplace, all right? So, that's the important things to do, right? That's why the email's so important, is that you have to have more of a long-term thinking, okay? You can't sit here and send traffic to a landing page and say, oh, we didn't get anybody to sign up, or we only got 3 people to sign up. That's the short-term thinking, okay? Short-term thinking. The long-term thinking will be 10 times as more successful as a short-term thinking, because you're having each person talk to 12 people, and they're going to talk to their friends, right? And they're going to say how wonderful you are. And that's what you want, right? That's what you want, a reputation in the business. And then, those contacts can go on forever, right? Forever, years, right? You keep sending them stuff. You keep having events at your facility. You keep sending them white papers on how to find a job, white papers how to find an engineering job, white papers of who's leading, people that people want to work for, ranking, Glassdoor rankings, just more, right? And then you jab, right hook, right? Gary Vaynerchuk, okay? So you go out, give him information, and then you invite him in, right? So, you keep it going. So that's what you need to do, okay? That's the tracking, right? That's the important thing, is that we have to get over this hump, all right, of sending traffic to a 10-page form, okay? We have to do better, all right? And we can, and it's not that much money to do it. We just have to change our thinking, okay? We have to change our thinking. This is marketing, okay? We have to market to these people, right? And, the literature I've read about recruitment marketing is ridiculous. It's like, go watch some YouTube videos. No, okay? The front plan I have with my mobile marketing platform, which is extremely powerful, plus the back end of the Facebook retargeting, plus going to a landing page and capturing ID, and developing a long-term relationship is the way to go. And it's cheap, okay? It's cheap and it's effective. So we have to do better, all right? We have to do better than what we're doing. We have to do better in tracking. We have to do better in long-term thinking. That's it. Have to. We have no choice, okay? So, and if you implement this stuff, right? And I'm not selling it just to me, okay? If you want to take everything I said in this video and write it down and do it with somebody else, please do. Because, if you want to call me and have me explain it to you and then write it down and take somebody else, please do. CopleyAdvertising.com. Please do, okay? And I would be happy to outline this entire program to you, for you to go and do it to somebody else, because this needs to be done, okay? What you're doing now is wrong. Just wrong, okay? So, we have to move forward to the next level, all right? The next level. Have to, all right? And I tell you, the companies that do this now are going to be 100 miles ahead of the other companies, right? They're going to be 100 miles ahead, because then the more data we get, right? The more data I can get on who's doing the emails and stuff, the more we can tweak things, the more we can understand things, and things become cheaper and better. Yes, this type of marketing becomes cheaper and better, okay? And then we go to college campuses, right? Get the best of the best on college campuses, right? We could bring those people in, right? And find out what their likes and needs and sensitivities are. And, we could do all kinds of things in order to do that. There's an endless scope of abilities with mobile marketing. Endless. There. How's that for my first YouTube Live? John Flynn, Copley Advertising, give me 1 month. Give me 1 month of my mobile recruiting program, and I will fix it. Thank you.